We're going to talk about optimizing your Google App campaigns. So the first thing to point out is Google App campaigns in terms of optimization is quite limited. There's not a lot of parameters that you can really optimize to improve performance. And we'll talk about some of those parameters in a few seconds. So it's not like your traditional channel, like a standard Performance Max, where you can even personalize your audience segments. You can personalize the terms that you want to rank for. You can have different asset groups for different types of messaging, different types of feeds. That's maybe a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your perspective. It's something to be mindful of. So a very important concept that I want to share is sometimes when you focus too much on performance marketing, we actually start to forget that the user journey is beyond someone just clicking on an ad, or in this case, clicking on an ad within the App Store. So always think beyond the click, or in this case, think beyond the tap. Always think of that user journey. Think of what they're thinking, what they're doing, if there's any blockers throughout the journey. Because what's going to happen is you might get a lot of people installing the app, clicking on the app, but beyond that, they're not actually converting post-app installation. And you're going to get questioned if you're working within performance marketing. Here are the things that you can actually customize. So we've got your headlines, descriptions, your creative assets such as your images, your videos, your HTML file, obviously your URL. So let's say you want to be able to have deep links where the destination of the user who clicks on the ad goes to a different segment or a different user interface within your app. You can A/B test that as well. And then obviously budget allocations as well. So let's say you have different campaigns, and within the different campaigns that you might have a completely different budget for each location. So let's say maybe you have an app that's a global app. You would tend to allocate budgets towards the campaign that's performing the best. But at the same time, it depends on your team. They might want to push spend towards a new market, for example. So you can optimize in that sense, where if you're seeing better conversion rates within a particular location, you would obviously increase spends for that specific campaign. So the good thing about Google App campaigns is that within your creative assets, such as your headlines, your descriptions, and your images and videos, Google will mix and match the best performing one anyway. So in a way, there's almost an A/B test that's happening within the campaign by itself naturally. The caveat is that you're not going to know which exact variations of those actually are bringing in the best clicks or the best amount of app installs. If you're really wanting to do a strong A/B test in terms of your creatives, I would recommend having multiple ad groups and use the ad groups as different cohorts of your tests, rather than adding in all the different headlines, descriptions, and creatives within the same campaign and within the same ad group. But generally speaking, with the way advertising is heading, to be honest, you would want to separate your always on performance marketing campaigns versus A/B testing. So always make sure you have a different budget for testing, and you have a really strong hypothesis and why you're doing it and what are the results that you're trying to take from it. And then you would deploy that back into your BAU, or your business as usual, always on campaign. All right, so let's close down this chapter with the cycle of growth. This is obviously a very simplified version of it, but at the beginning, let's assume that you don't have any data to play with. You're just testing things out, right? You're testing if people are even going to click on an ad. You're testing if Google App Campaigns is the right ad type for you. At this point, you're testing out your average cost per install. And to that, the next step is the insights or the learning that you get from it. And usually when you're starting out within performance marketing, your money at the beginning, you're paying for insights. You're not paying for positive results. That's a concept that you have to educate your stakeholders with. It's a very debatable topic, but from my perspective, it'd be ideal to have the perfect strategy at the beginning, but that never happens. And if it does happen, it's probably likely by chance. So let's not leave our growth to chance. Let's actually have a more strategic deployment of how we're gonna learn insights, to use those insights as a way to improve our campaigns. And obviously, from the learnings that you get, the next stage is reiteration. So this is the aspect of you improving your campaigns, right? If you know that specific headline isn't quite working, or maybe that specific creative just isn't resonating in terms of click-through rates, you can deploy another test where you might have a completely different creative in terms of messaging. Maybe the visual colors are different. Maybe the avatar within the image is different. Maybe the video is slightly quicker. Maybe rather than being a 30-second video, it's a 5-second quick and snappy video. And so You use those insights to reiterate your campaign, because at the end of the day, we want to improve performance, right? You don't want to keep it neutral, but at the same time, we want to keep it sustainable. And the last aspect of growth, again, this is a simplified version, it's to actually grow. So you're using the test to get the insights, then you're using the insights to reiterate to improve performance. And once you find the strategy that works for you, it's then being able to scale and grow that and doubling down on that. And the reason why I call it the cycle of growth is that what's going to happen is you might have an upwards trajectory of performance, but that's going to plateau, right? There's going to be a saturation point. And what you want to do is cycle back to the testing aspect, which is stage 1. And the cycle loops, like it never ends. And you signed up for it. So that's the responsibility we take on. All right, thank you for watching the video. Till next time, peace and love out.